thank you for being so cool about moving the time up. It was
Yeah,
my fault completely.
that's all good.
Um,
It's all good.
I,
I I
I,
I don't happen to be on tour right now.
I don't think anybody's on tour right now.
Well, you
All
said
right,
you're in Austin. I haven't been out of well, anyway, let's go.
no, no, no. I was in no, where we're recording. This is the show. We actually started without
Oh,
you even knowing it. As soon as you
oh,
shit on me
sneaky,
being on tour and you being in
sneaky.
Austin. But I'll be back. I'll be back for Moon Tower Comedy Festival in September of 2021,
Uh-huh,
which you'll be a guest to the come to the jam and come to the 500 taping and all the other shit I do.
uh-huh, all right.
But the only way I'll make it happen is you have to invite our mutual friend Tom DeSavia.
Oh god, yes.
Yeah, dude.
Everybody knows Tom DeSavia.
Everybody knows Tom, and he's
Yeah,
gonna love that I'm name dropping him right off the jump.
nice.
I don't even know how I became friends with. You know what? You know what? He helped us book this show. We were trying to find I forget what album. And it's just like the most random people in the music industry he was just throwing up. And he was like, what
Yes,
about this person?
yes,
What about the bassist for the Bengals? What about, and it's
yes.
just like, dude, he knows everybody.
Yeah, he's been in the freaking music business for 40, 30 some years, you know?
That's insane because he looks like he's 30, right?
I'll tell him you
Like,
said that.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, let's get into it because this is a thickie of a record, man. This is Bob Dylan. This is our second Bob Dylan record that we've done on the podcast. Um, before I give my thoughts, Tom and our and everybody has said that you are a huge Bob Dylan fan, much like everybody else. So why don't you take me right from the beginning? Tell me about the first time you heard Bob Dylan.
Oh, well, that's a long time ago because 'cause I'm 85, you know.
God,
I look pretty good. I know I look really good for 85 and
retinol,
and,
vitamin C oil. What are you doing,
yeah,
bro?
nothing. Um, uh,
Living.
it's really hard to get this stripe in my hair, though. Somebody asked me, "Is that dyed?" And I said, "No, you dumbass." Whatever. Um, I had an older brother, and I'm of a certain age, so
It's always a
I
brother, yeah.
think, he's, like, traditional 4 years older and crap like that. I told your partner here that I grew up in Baltimore, which is a
Wait,
whole
wait,
other element.
well, I just heard the accent.
Yeah.
So here's how we're gonna test how bad a Baltimore accent you have. Say Hall and Oates. 'Cause if it comes out like this, if it comes out like
Hall
Hall
and
and Oates,
Oates, Hall and
Hall and
Oates,
Oates.
Hall
My
and Oates.
favorite song is
"Oh, come
I
on,
Can't Go
hon.
for That.
No, come on, get out of here. You
No, what
going
are you talking
downtown?
about?
You going down the ocean? I'm going
Go
down
down in
Ocean
the
City,
ocean.
you know."
Dude, I hooked up with a girl from Ocean City once, and I swear to God, she said to me, "Let's go by the ocean. Let me give you a blowjob." I was like, "What?
Oh,
A
Lord.
blowjob?"
Yikes. No, I was there in Baltimore in, Fells Point back in the good old days
Yeah, dude.
when it was full of sailors and Greek crazy people and bums and all kinds of shit like that. It was awesome.
Can I tell you something? It's still the same. I
No,
was just there yesterday. I was just there
it
yesterday,
got
bro.
invaded it got invaded by frat boys from Towson, like, years and years
Yep,
ago.
yep,
But
that
whatever,
was me.
it's all good, but, uh, I think the first record I heard was probably, that he had was probably, Highway 61,
Okay.
and then, Blonde on Blonde, but the one that was kind of like more my record because I was maybe 14 or something like that, was, John Wesley Harding, and that was
Mhm.
the one that really, like, hooked me and stuff, and then, of course, when I was, like, early late teens, early 20s, then I was listening to all the older stuff, like, Another Side of and Bringing It Back Home and all that jazz. But,
Yeah.
I'm not a scholar of Bob Dylan, and I kind of resist that because there's plenty of that. There's plenty of people that can do that and like that, and I don't. I think that being a writer and a songwriter myself, I think that a lot of stuff Bob's doing is just for the hell of it, and
Really?
he's doing it because it sounds good, because it feels good, because he wants to just fuck with people, and it has meaning to him, but it's probably much more personal and different than the meaning that is ascribed to it.
Yeah.
Not to say that he's not, pulling out quotes and making mentions of people, um, that is leaving it up in the air, leaving it to the interpreter, however people want to interpret it. Because I know for a fact that he he kind of loves fucking with
Oh,
people.
dude, it's so funny that you said you jumped off, right off top by saying scholars, because there are at least 20 websites that are dedicated to breaking down every lyric
Hmm.
that he has ever done, and they're all conflicting, and one saying this is about God, and one saying, "Nope, it's about a girl," and one
Yeah,
saying, "No, it's about Jesus." It's just all over the place.
yeah.
All right, so you started, with the albums you mentioned, from my understanding, because I'm not the biggest Bob Dylan fan. This is literally the second full Bob Dylan record I've ever listened to all the way through. The first being "Time Out of Mind,"
Hmm.
the album right before this one.
Right.
So you started right at, all the stuff you mentioned are some of his greatest records. So now we've gotten 30 years. Am I right or wrong? 30 years into his career at this point when this record came out. About that?
Well, 60. No, it'd be more like 40 years.
Oh,
This
so
was
so
this was
40
released in 20,
dude,
like,
9/11, 2001.
yeah. So he was playing in the freaking early 60s. So yeah,
So then
almost
why
40 years.
so I can see why people love the earlier stuff, because I
Yeah.
I understand what's going on at the time and how ahead of his time he is, but this older stuff, so how do you feel about this record?
Oh, I think this was the first time that he just trusted in himself because, according to, Chronicles, that book he wrote, uh, Daniel Lenoir was just, mean, just downright cruel,
Yeah.
making him, like, question his ability and his purpose and songwriting and all that stuff. And it's like, I actually hate Daniel Lenoir's production. I can't stand it.
Really?
I think
Yeah.
Daniel Lenoir is one of the only people that could make Emmylou Harris sound like she doesn't sing well.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
There's so much compression. There's so much shit added onto it. With Bob's voice in Time Out of Mind, gets into like fucking Satchmo territory, and it's like that
Very.
ain't, you don't have to do that. And so this record is where he like took the reins back, took his power back, and anytime he's playing with Charlie Sexton, who's a pal of mine too, uh, it's better. I mean, when Charlie was out of the band, it was not as good, and when Charlie's back in the band, it's better because Charlie is, just gifted, and he let the band, that he'd been playing with for some time then, Tony Garnier and the rest of them, he let them kind of realize his, Bob's love of jump blues and, Delta blues and even older, kind of, Tin Pan Alley songs and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
it's like you know, and I was on some listening, thing for this last record that he did, and someone had a pretty good point, which was, uh, Uncle Bob's muse is history, and it always has been. He he wanted to be a black sharecropper back in '64 or
Yeah.
'63, when he's going out and playing folk songs in the, like Woody Guthrie. And that's why the Todd Haynes movie was so good because it was all these, different characters that he could inhabit. So, yeah, I mean, he's loving history. So this love and theft is kind of, to me, is kind of like, I love this music and I can do it. I can do it in my own way, and I can get a bunch of, I don't know. Somebody said it was minstrel,
Yeah.
had a a nod to like, you know
Let me see if
emancipation and minstrel show and all that kind of stuff. And he, I think he like kind of embraced his, his song and dance man.
Yeah. So going with what you're saying, he got the title for the record from Eric Lott's 1993 book Love and Theft, Blackface Minstrelsy,
Yeah.
and the American Working Class, which explored the racial and racist components of this popular American musical art form of the early 19th century. Which is funny that we're having you on to talk about that because on your first album Los Angeles, which is still one of your most popular, and you described a racist character escaping the city's diversity
Mhm.
with the type of language she would likely use. And right before this we did Randy Newman's Good Old Boys, which has a song Rednecks on it,
Yeah.
and he had said that he wished he could have used another word, but for the recording and for the writing, it was truthful. And this also reminds me of Bob Dylan's Hurricane.
Yeah.
So before we get into this record, I feel like it's a perfect time to ask you because it's you brought it up. Did people misunderstand the context on either side of the issue for Los Angeles?
Not up until about 2 or 3 years ago when, cancel culture, became so, um, influential, and
Yeah,
I understand it, and it's, the whole purpose of using the N word in Los Angeles is to hold a mirror up to people. It's like, "You see this? This is what people are saying, and this is still true, and this is 1980,
yeah,
and what in the fuck are you doing about it? And are really is this still happening?" And so, obviously, we weren't aware of the, how hurtful it was, for a big group of people. I can't say that X had a huge, African American following, but there was a lot of diversity in the LA punk rock scene. And
sure.
it's like if you wanted to, if you wanted to suffer the abuse of being, associated with the punk rock scene, you whatever else you were, that's probably more than you're going to get as whatever you are,
Yeah,
gay or whatever. So, yeah. And at this point, we sing. She started to hate every Christian and Jew instead of
there you
N word
go.
and
Yeah,
Jew. But
yeah.
I'm not. No,
Just
I'm
keep
not.
Jews. Make sure you keep
Oh
Jews.
yeah,
That's the
yeah, yeah.
important
Because
part.
everybody hates
We deserve
Jews,
it.
and yeah,
We deserve it for sure.
yeah. Uh,
But before we get in, and Peter, you might have to edit this. Did you have more to say? I didn't want to cut you off.
no, I mean, we could talk about it all day long, but
For sure.
I don't feel bad about it because at that point there was something within, artistic expression that if you were if you were adopting it, if you were saying it through a character, that it was acceptable, just like some of, Robert Mapplethorpe's photographs were unacceptable, or certain books get banned from libraries because they're too sexy or whatever. um, I think it's I get it, and I'm down with it because
Yeah,
I want to be part of the solution, not part of the problem. But
for sure.
there's a yeah, it's a weird place to be,
I mean,
and
there's things that like, I mean, Blazing Saddles by
sure,
Mel Brooks. It
yeah,
was a hysterical movie, but
yeah,
I remember in 2001, right around the time this album came out, we were watching it, and there was one of my friends, my roommates for black friends saw it, and he was just like, Jesus Christ, and I was like, well, I mean, but they're making fun of those people, like not the actual word, and it's just,
yeah.
but years later, it just gets misconstrued. But I
I don't
think
think it is. I don't think it is misconstrued. I think it's just overly. It's the pendulum has to swing back before it can get in the middle. Maybe I'm
for
not
sure.
sure. Um, as a as an older white male, I'm totally prepared to take my lumps and to shut the fuck up.
Yeah,
And
dude.
I wish that there were a lot of other people
The
that
same
would
way.
recognize that and just say, "No, I'm gonna step away from my motherfucking ego and 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 say, yeah, what else? What else do I need to learn? What else do I need to hear? what else do I need to, you know, get behind? Because
Sure.
I want, yeah,
I think you said something really, really relevant about this record and that, which is, Bob Dylan's not trying to make a, a blanket racist statement as the album title by taking it from that other title. He's trying to show this side of Americana because that's kind of what this album is. It's him finding all these different pieces, and you can see that in the different styles of music, where
yeah.
one is like a bluegrass and one's a country and then one's almost a jazz standard, and then
Hmm.
he's all over the place with it. So I feel I can definitely see the
But it's
similarities.
all coming. It's all coming from black roots.
Yes, for sure.
You know,
So
except for maybe the bluegrass thing, but banjo was originally in the deep south and came from Africa.
yeah,
So I don't think he's I don't no, I don't think it's like he wishes that he could have been part of the minstrel show. It's more like um I'm going behind that. I'm going back to like emancipation. A lot of this could have, and this is something that I'm working on a new record is writing a record that doesn't have telephones, doesn't have um, airplanes, and is like
yeah,
pre-industrial revolution. And John Wesley Harding was a little bit like that. So all these images don't have anything to do with like the modern world. It,
yeah.
and it's showing his love of history and all that kind of stuff. And I'm still kind of jealous that he pulls out all these crazy fucking uh, images, but he's good at that.
He is. So, like I said earlier, this is my second Bob Dylan record that
You
I've
got,
really. I know, man.
you
I
got you
know.
that, you know what? That's a beautiful thing. You got a lot of wonderful experiences ahead of you.
You're 100% right.
Yeah.
But I don't think starting on these two
No.
records is where to start. Because I want like Bob where he's like, "Hey, the ba da hoo ha." I don't want this like,
Yeah, yeah,
say who
yeah.
skeet out and do. Is that a good impersonation, John?
That's a great impersonation.
Thank you very much. I'm gonna need some positive affirmation. So I have to say this before I go any further. I totally respect Bob Dylan. I respect everything about the guy,
Yeah.
and I respect this record. That being said, like I said, I don't think I should have started with these two, because I don't think it's gonna make me a fan any quicker. I love the music. But my only note about this record before we dive into the songs, because there are moments that I fucking fell in love with. I just think every song is just a little too long. I think that he could have cut a minute and a half from
Sure.
every. There's a couple songs that were 3 minutes, and I was like, that was great.
Yeah.
What was wrong? Why can't that one? Why can't the other nine songs be 3 minutes long?
Well,
Bob.
don't start with Sad Eyed Lady of the Lowlands.
Oh my
Although,
God.
talk about a fucking Love Jones. You can write
Yeah.
a 17-minute song that's like all words, and it's all about like one person. That's a Love Jones.
He's the man.
Yeah.
I'm not like
I,
dude,
you know what? You can,
everything about
yeah. See the whole thing. That like is part of I'm having fun.
yeah.
Shit's coming. Why? I don't have to edit myself. Who cares? If you don't like it, you can lump it. Just kind of it's kind of like I love this. I'm having a good time, and I
Yeah.
think like there's a lot more records of his that are less um, exuberant, and this one is because the band is having a great time, and so he's saying, yeah, let's keep going. I love this groove, and I know for a fact that a lot of times he'll write a song as the like have the band just hit a groove and just okay play keep going on this thing, and so it becomes not a jam session, but it's like it is a groove.
Yeah, but and then I found out through my writer Morty that he would play the song. They'd be like, "All right, do it country," and he'd be like, "Nah, I don't like that. Nah,
Yeah,
do it bluegrass," and then
yeah,
they'd
yeah.
do a blue. Nah, I don't like that, and he would just go and go. But then surprisingly, this only took 2 weeks to record. he sat down, they came right in, he worked through it, and this is what he got. And maybe that's why, because as Morty was explaining to me, because I'm like I said, I don't know all the history
Yeah.
of Bob Dylan, but he would say that that Bob would he they would just set it up, set the mics up, and not adjust it. He was trying to go for this older style of recording, like they did,
Mhm.
in the 50s and in the 60s, because he wanted to capture
Yeah.
that beauty that was older music.
Yeah. Well, that's the only decent way to record anyhow.
Yeah.
The only
All right,
other
you want to
the other kind of recording where people are, flying tracks around and coming into the studio at different times. You can make something that sounds pleasant, but there's no mojo, there's no soul, there's no bleed, there's no something that is like indescribable. So I mean, yeah, you can make a good, I guess, sounding record,
yeah.
if that's what you like, if that's your
How
thing.
sim how similar were the recording processes, from what Bob Dylan did to what X did?
Virtually the same. We're all in a
Okay.
room and we just played songs, and I mean, we did overdub vocals, which I think these vocals are probably, I would guess, mostly live. But that's the way that I record solo stuff. Is just you get in a room and you put up enough soundproofing to make sure that the bleed between one microphone and another isn't going to fuck you at the end. Isn't
Yeah.
going to screw up stuff as you're mixing. You can't turn something down because there's too much of that in another microphone, and you just go because really what you're doing is making a record, a record of the, or you're recording a moment, and you can. It isn't just that it's right, because so what? Big deal, right? What you want to do is you want to get something across. You want to give somebody a feeling. You want to make them feel something, and the best way to do that is to have something that's just fucking real and right there. So
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. I think that, but by hearing that from you and then hearing, of how Bob Dylan recorded this, see, these are the little things that make me love it even more. By
yeah,
the end of this episode, I'm gonna get a Bob Dylan tattoo. I'm gonna get gristled.
I want to see that. I want to see that.
Dude. All right,
Send
well,
me a picture.
all right,
I want to see your Bob
I'll
Dylan
get your
tattoo.
number. I'll get your number through Tom, and we'll make this happen. All right, let's dive into the record, because this really is. I just want to tell the Fleece Army, I am not shitting on Bob Dylan. Everybody, it's like we should have started at number one and gone up. Like that's what we should have
No,
done.
but you're just following the 500, right? I
I
mean,
know, but we should have started at 1 and gone up, because then I would have heard Highway,
61.
what 61 Revisited, and I
Yeah,
would have heard, Blonde on Blonde and Blood on
yeah,
the
yeah.
Tracks, and dude, right now, I'd be like, "Oh my god." I mean, Tweedledee, Tweedledum is he's talking about this, and it reminds me of X and Y and Z,
Uh-huh.
and right now, I'm
Yeah.
just like, I mean, maybe
Well,
it
the,
kinda
the only
reminds
thing,
me of Everybody Might Get Stoned?
yeah, the one thing you're missing is Bob's a great singer, and at this point in his life, he doesn't have the range but he's got the soul. So it's like, Whitney Houston is a great singer, but I'd rather listen to uh, Billie Holiday or Edith Piaf or someone who
Yes.
just has this, um, you know life that they've lived behind them. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, you got some good things to because Bob's a
Look
great
forward to.
singer.
Yeah. I'm
Even
excited,
even
dude.
on the songs that are the records that people hate, like "Saved" and "Slow Train Coming," where they're supposedly the Jesus records and stuff like that. He's a kick-ass singer. His tone is totally weird, and you either like that or you don't. But his you know ability to invent stuff and he never sings things the same way twice, and
Yeah.
it's pretty great. I mean, I've seen a couple of concerts where I was like, "What fucking song is this? Oh, this is like a Rolling Stone, huh? All right, cool."
He's doing the remix. Oh shit! Did
Yeah,
DJ Khaled produce it? He's killing it.
yeah.
I saw him live. I talked about this last time. I saw him live. The Raconteurs opened for him at George Mason University, and we went specifically to see the Raconteurs because of a friend knew the band manager, and that was so first time I'm ever seeing Bob Dylan. He's like in the back. He's not even up front. Like he's got like his shoulder to the audience. I
Uh-huh.
mean, this is 2007 maybe. And I remember I mean, one, I was way too stoned, but I was like,
Mm.
yeah, man, I just don't know if this is for me.
Yeah.
And I'm glad I had those experiences and then started doing this because listen, it's growing. It's just a hard nut to crack. And to be honest with you, John, and this is giving you kudos. I feel more comfortable saying that I don't know if I get Bob Dylan yet to you than I did to Rita Wilson, the guest on our first episode. We did Time Out of Mind. I couldn't. She was such a fan that I was like, I can't tell her that I dislike this record as much as
Uh,
she loves it. And I was like, so I
whatever.
get along with you. That's what I'm
Well,
saying. I can
that
vibe with you. You have a very easy going vibe.
well, up to a point.
Okay, good. All right,
If you
let's
start
let's
talking shit about John Waters, then we're gonna have a problem.
no, dude,
Uh,
dude,
I'm telling you.
Hairspray,
Yeah.
Hairspray. Just and I'm not even getting into his earlier work, but I'm just saying, just from Hairspray.
Yeah.
And I met him too. He came to Towson University when I
Yeah.
was one of the frat boys destroying Fells Point.
Oh, sorry.
No,
Oops.
I wasn't really a frat boy. I was never in a frat.
I
I was
can't. Good.
just a drunk Jewish guy walking around Baltimore on a lot of cocaine. It was a
Yeah.
fun time for me,
Fun
dude.
times.
Fun time, dude. Eating crab balls. But yeah, but here, we're wasting time. Let's dive in. There are some really great songs on this record. It opens with Tweedledee, Tweedledum, name for the absurd, little fat twin brothers from the nursery rhymes of the 1700s, but most well known from adaptations of Lewis Carroll's 1871 book Through the Looking Glass and What Alice Found There. And this is filled with typically wild Dylan imagery from bags of dead man's bones to boiling brains. Do you want to hear a little bit of it?
Yeah, sure.
All right, kick it on, JT. All right, kill it. I love that little. So yeah, so he basically took he would read stuff and find these books and just steal sentences, full lines, and just throw them in the song. And once I found that out, I was like trying to like every song, I'm trying to see if I got anything. And the only thing that I could recognize out of this was that line that we played where he references Streetcar Named Desire. I was like, I know that one. I was like, all right, I'm not an idiot. I'm not a full idiot. Um, I think this is a good song. I just like I said earlier, I think it goes on too long without any real changes. I'm sorry about it, but I do like it. What are your thoughts on this song? Like, how do you feel when you hear this?
You know what? I'm not a I'm not a scholar. I don't know this record backward and forward. I actually had to buy it uh, at my local record shop. Everybody should buy it at their local record shop. But I got the LP, and uh, this reminds me of Highway 61. This is the same kind of groove as something on that. It would fit perfectly. You know, I listen to this as much for the band as I do for the song, and I don't think that any of these have like a beginning, middle, and end in the song,
I believe that. Yeah.
and but it's kind of like existing, which is really I was saying about about the last record he did, the rowdy ways, rough and rowdy ways. It's like he's existing in the past, the present, and the future all at the same time. And so are the characters. So it's yeah, I mean to say it's going on too long, it's like what? So it's 5 minutes instead of three and a half. It's like, yeah, whatever. It's a
Listen,
good
you're right.
groove, man.
It's a great groove.
Yeah.
Please don't think I'm shitting on the groove.
No.
The groove is the groove, and I
But
pray
but it's
everyone
like
to the groove.
I've only walked out of like one movie in
What was it?
uh, it was They Came From Within, which is
Oh,
a early David Cronenberg movie where people have these like demons that are like squirt out of their guts and stuff like that. And I actually had eaten some bad food, so I was feeling the same thing that
oh,
was
jeez.
going on, on the screen, and I had because I didn't want to, like crap my pants in the movie theater. But the reason I say it is because there's something that's great about there's like one moment I think in almost every movie that is sort of transcendent and sort of like hits you in a way, and maybe like at minute 4 minutes and 15 seconds on
Yeah.
this song, there's something for somebody that goes like, "Ah, that's the one.
Yeah.
That's the line," you know, or your little near,
That was
yeah,
it, but that's what got me,
yeah,
not gonna
so
lie, that's what kept me totally focused. Now I wanna talk about, all the books that Bob is referencing in this. You and our buddy Tom,
yes,
worked on Under the Big Black Sun: A Personal History of LA Punk, and More Fun in the New World: The Unmaking and Legacy of LA Punk,
yes,
chronicling the first 10 years of punk that you and many contributing members of the scene experienced.
yes.
So I want to know, when did you first realize that it was a movement that was bigger than its individual parts?
Oh, well, I think right at the beginning because there nobody was getting discovered. There wasn't Seymour Stein, and there wasn't Malcolm McLaren, and there wasn't Blondie or the Clash, and because everybody. This is that's only about a year and a half or 2 years after those scenes were starting. But the LA scene didn't get much play. So
Yeah.
we all had to work together in order to keep it viable, and everybody played in a couple different bands and all like that. So, but did we think it was going to last as long or have as much
Yeah.
cultural impact? No, that was like maybe in the year 2000. I thought, oh God, huh? I guess I can hear some influences of LA punk rock in these people, and then people who were younger were starting to reference bands from that era and stuff
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
But
Um, no, I totally get that. I totally do get that. I just found this funny fact though. I
but
wanted
the
to
but
read it.
the LA punk rock scene was more about like goofy kids having a good time and drinking beer and uh, uh, like living cheaply and like a bohemian kind of lifestyle. That it wasn't like the no future of London or the like art world of New York City. So
Yeah.
that's why it's particular to Los Angeles. And Tom and I couldn't have done this without all the other people that contributed, and I didn't want to. Tom kept bugging me and said, "You should write a book," and it's like, "You should write a book. Fuck you." That sounds like way too much work and
Yeah.
discipline and stuff that I'm busy. I've got a job. I don't need another effing job, Tom. Thank you.
Yeah.
But because I'm not a like raconteur telling stories and all this. I don't really hold forth that much. On occasion, I'll say, "Yeah, there was this time that so and so did this and blah blah." Um, so I figured I would be like Tom Sawyer and get everybody else to paint the fence rather than me have to do it. And then I didn't have to be like the authority, and I couldn't tell like what it was like for women to be in this scene.
Yeah.
I loved it and appreciated it and worked hard to be allies and promote you know equality because that was something that punk rock really really demonstrated or initiated, I think, in this scene.
Yeah.
There were, in New York, London, LA, San Francisco, and onward, it was like there's women playing drums, there's women playing lead guitar, there's women, not just the cute front singer, you know.
Um, so you were talking about people reading too deeply into Bob Dylan lyrics.
Uh-huh.
Because this came out on 9/11, and I don't know why people would think this. Some Dylan fans and conspiracy followers thought Bob was somehow what is it? Psychically referring to the Twin Towers with this song.
Yeah.
They really do want to break shit down. They really want to find QAnon. When
Well,
they want to find it, they find it.
I was just gonna say that. I guess QAnon is on everybody's mind
They're on everybody's,
because
dude. They knew.
it's so absurd.
They're
Um,
so
I know exactly what they're talking about, and I know why that feels that way. Because we made a record, X made a record after 35 fucking years, and it was released during on in April of 2020, and everybody
yeah,
thought, "Oh my God, this is so foreshadowing, and this is like foretelling the future, and how did they do this, and all that sort." It's because we've always written lyrics like that.
yeah,
We've always talked about being disenfranchised, with living the world is the world is going to hell, and politicians are all fucked up, and all this kind of stuff. So that's what we write about, and then history catches up with you, or there's some kind of meeting, some kind of juxtaposition, or combination of actual events and what you naturally write about.
yeah.
And so then people are gonna say, "Oh my god, that's silly."
If people are looking for something and they want to find it, they're going to find it. They'll find something, so a word, a sentence, an image that just like that. Nope, that proves my point.
Yep, yep.
Uh, I mean, who knows? Maybe Bob Dylan is psychic.
I
No idea.
Sure, why not?
Sure, why not? Uh,
Oh, alright, I'm holding on to it. God, fine. Such a task. No, it's fine. I'd rather do this than to have it all, annoying. Okay.
all right. All right, the next song I want to talk about is the second song on the record, Mississippi. So this is like a world weary look at his then late 50s life running down, and it was originally recorded for the previous album, but it was left off. I do like this. This is really cool. He offered it to Sheryl Crow, who was honored to record it in 98. Then the Dixie Chicks started playing her version in concert. And on his manager's suggestion, Dylan re recorded a more country rock version for this album. What I love about this is that Dylan is getting paid at least 4 times for this song, which is fucking great. Uh, this was
Go ahead.
this was so popular and loved, that it's still considered among his best work. Here, let's hear a bit of it. Peter, play it. Alright, kill it. I actually really like this song. I think this might be one of the best ones on the record. Might, because there might be something later that I enjoy even more. So what do you think?
Um, I I'm gonna just do a little review here.
Go ahead.
Um, Mississippi is famous for uh, inventing the blues. All the Delta blues guys came from Mississippi, and so he would be there in a second. And I think that if you're going to talk about you know living his life, and wondering about whether it's rewarding or not, I think that's where you're at with this.
Yeah.
Like being in a place that is unwelcoming. Being in a place that you know you might as well get out of because it's not gonna serve you.
Yeah. So let's talk about aging gracefully, like Bob's trying to say here. Can the spirit of punk rock age gracefully, or is it supposed to just burn out by design?
No, I think it totally can. And you know, everybody said that rock and roll is just a
A fad.
yeah, a fad or just for young people. And there's something you can do as a young person that you can't do as an older person. But there's plenty to there's plenty to do. Um, yeah, there aging gracefully just depends on whether you're being if you have integrity and you don't you're not a bullshitter and you're not just a you know you're not relying on gimmicks and even, you know, someone who does start out with a gimmick can move into to more authenticity if they're a true if they're an artist, you know?
Yeah.
And that's like TBD on a lot of people. Um,
No, I kind of agree with you. I mean, especially with rock and roll, because I don't know enough about punk, but from what I do know, I've seen, especially like X. You just made a new record. It's phenomenal. Like, I think there's a level, like you said, of having integrity, staying to your roots, but also, like I've seen a lot of rock artists, do one thing at the beginning, and as they age, it's almost like they're like, even with Bob, it's like he's doing stuff for fun now because this is what he wants to do, and he gave us so much earlier. And so it's just, as long as you're still playing to what you love and what you want to do, I don't see there, I mean, I think it would be weird to see a guy 85 years old, at the Roxy, just fucking, yeah, da-da-da-da-da. I mean, that would be weird, but I'd go see it because I'd get free
it'll prob
tickets. I know him.
it'll probably
I'm not
be
gonna
awesome.
pay. It would be a bunch of octogenarians just ripping,
Yeah,
just fucking
yeah,
ripping.
absolutely. Why not? Who says they
Dude,
can't?
Dude, we gotta find
But
some we gotta find some 85-year-olds that can rip.
yeah, I know one. His name's Willie Nelson.
Okay, you're right. Okay, I
Except
forgot about it. He's
except
85?
except
Jesus,
he's
how
80.
he's
I
85
think
and I look older than him, and I'm 41.
no, I think he's 87.
Good God.
Yeah, and I've seen him since, you know, moving to Austin, and I'm friends with some of his kids. Uh, that he there is something that he does in every show, and it's not always the same, that blows my mind. He's one of the best guitar players ever. Yeah, not just for what he does, but definitely that. I would say, you know, the thing that Bob can do in in his later records is have this uh he reads something, he reinterprets it. It isn't if you from what I understand, I haven't made a, you know, in-depth study on this, but the the lines that are taken from other books are changed bit by bit, like weaved into. So it's not like a direct steal.
It's not now.
It's more of a like, oh, this I just did read this, but it's fitting into this character rather than I'm taking this and then gonna make a character around it. It
Yeah.
may be totally wrong, but he was kind of, you know, referencing different characters and people all the time. I mean, from the get go. So it's no surprise.
I mean, how many albums has he made at this point? This is what, his, like,
250.
200, this is his 250th record. I mean, after a certain point of time, it's like, how many lyrics can you write on your own?
Oh,
Thinking, thank God he
you'd be
didn't just, like,
surprised.
steal off, like, the Olive Garden menu. He's
No,
just like, "Alright,
you'd be
all you
surprised.
can eat breadsticks, oh, and soup and salad." Save that, Jeremiah, for one of those things that we do, okay? That's to be used. All right, let's move on to the next song. We got a few more I wanna talk about. Summer Day, 45. This might actually, this moment right here might be my favorite of the record so far. Peter, play it. I love that. Kill it. I really do like this song. So what I found, he paraphrases F. Scott Fitzgerald's The Great Gatsby, the
Mhm.
obscure 1964 single "Hopped Up Mustang" by Arlen Sanders, and a Japanese book we'll get into later. I see. This is where I now the album has got me. Now I'm into it, and this is the shit that I like. I like the slower stuff that he does, but if we've so far the three songs that we've heard so far, this is definitely my favorite.
Right.
Do you have anything you want to add to this before I move on to Bye Bye?
No, I think that this is a very uh, great rendition of so many jump blues songs.
Yeah.
It could be, Wynonie Harris from uh, or the Blasters, who were big in the LA scene back in the day. Um, yeah, it's like I'm going to use this as my canvas, and I'm going to have some great imagery and yeah. So it's a and this is where the band just really he just lets them loose, you know.
The groove,
Yeah.
as you said earlier.
Yep.
The groove.
That's right. Well,
You
I didn't invent that term. I don't know if
I know,
you
I know.
I don't want to take
I'm
credit for
trying to
inventing the term "the groove" or
trying to connect with you.
in
I'm
the
trying to
pocket, man.
in
Try
the
"in the
pocket,
pocket." It was in the pocket.
the groove.
The groove.
Oh, you mean the groove? As he would say it, the groove.
The
That's
groove.
how Bob would say, "Come on, man, get into the groove." All right, By and By. Now, here's what I found. This, like many others on this album, really reflects Dylan's love and admiration for songs from the 20s, 30s, and 40s. In fact, he based this on the Billie Holiday song Having Myself a Time. And what's funny is it sounds breezy, but there's this dark, obsessive vibe lurking in the lyrics, which might be about a woman or even his feelings about that era of music itself. And you can hear the darkness in this clip. Peter, go ahead and play it. All right, that's. I'm gonna baptize you in fire, Jesus
Yeah.
Christ!
Why not?
But it doesn't. But it gives you this like like applesauce delicious, and we're gonna get nutritious. Yeah, I mean, you know what I mean? It's like when I was listening to this, I was like, oh, this is finally like a really nice song, and it's like, oh no, there's hellfire in this one. Um, I kind of like this one. I like how dirty, how dark it is. I love the light swing. I also dig, and you'll find this funny. I like this song a lot because I think this might be the shortest one on the record.
Well, to each their own,
To each their own.
you know.
Well, your thoughts. How do you feel?
Oh, I got a review. Let me step back and review.
You got it.
Um, I think it's the darkness is always there. It's just how much do you want to emphasize it, you know?
Mhm.
And he's not afraid to like that last verse that you referenced. He's not afraid to have everything in chaos. If that's the way it's going to go, that's the way it's going to go.
Hmm.
And I'm not gonna pull back. I think referencing the Civil War is probably like more of the same kind of thing with being about emancipation, being about that time.
So let me ask you because like I said, I don't know about a lot of his earlier work. This is like a reoccurring thing with Bob, I assume, where it's just brutal honesty and just like you said, that darkness.
Yes, yeah, and I think he allows himself to let the song take him someplace that he might not even know where it's going to go.
Hmm. No, I
Here you are,
believe
you're
you.
walking down the path, and then you make you write one line, and then it's like, oh, there's another one right behind it. I know that that's how it works for me. Um, you don't know where it's going to go when you first start out, and it just goes.
For sure. All right, I want to ask you a question because we did a White Stripes record right before this, and in that, Jack and Meg broke up and got divorced, and Meg had to convince Jack to keep the band together. And then
Right.
you and Exene broke up right as the band was reaching some mainstream success, and you not only stayed together, but you also started a second band, the Knitters. So I got to ask, was there any talk of the band breaking up as well?
Oh, sure. But we realized that we were friends before we were married, and that our artistic relationship was more important than being married, than being a couple. Not to say it wasn't hard, but it
Oh, I can
was
imagine.
also, it was also our job. It was our job, and we took it really seriously and felt like that it was more important than we were individually, and we weren't acting like fucking children, and just wanting to cut our nose off to spite our face kind of thing.
Yeah.
But it was, yeah, it was very difficult, and that Ain't Love Grand record was also the first record we did without Raymond Zarek, and that was kind of a mistake. The producer that we chose was known for doing heavy metal records, and he kind of sucked a lot of the life
Yeah.
out of the songs. But c'est la vie, man. That's
Hey,
the way it
Lovey.
goes.
How close was X to being over though? Like how was there like was there a moment you're like, it's fucking done, man. It's fucking done.
Oh, that that still happens. That still
Okay.
happens with everybody.
I know. I know.
You know,
It's
but you realize like it's like a family. And I don't know what your family's like, but families are fucking complicated.
we dude, my mom picked me up from the airport when I got to Maryland and I was like, we're having crab cakes and French fries tonight. And she goes, crab cakes, but we're having baked potato. And then I screamed at her and she screamed at me. I was like,
Oh,
how can
good.
we have baked potato with crab cakes? It's French fries. I'm not making French fries for 7 people. So yeah, dude, I
Yeah,
get it.
yeah.
I get it. Which brings me to the next song, Lonesome Day Blues. Now, here are the details of the song. It's a 12-bar blues. It has a title from a Blind Willie McTell and Ruby Glaze song from 1932, but owes more to Leroy Carr and Blackwell's 1934 song, Blues Before Sunrise, and Muddy Waters' Lonesome Day from 1952. JT, play it. All right, kill it. All right, here are my thoughts on this song. What I got from this song is it's about two women, okay? The main girl and then Samantha Brown. Now that being said, I think it's kind of fucked up that he called out Samantha Brown. He could have just said because he never mentions the other girl, but he mentioned Samantha Brown by name. And if there's a real Samantha Brown, I don't know if I'm happy for her or I'm like yeah, or that's kind of fucked up. That's what I got. Um, but also then I read the lyrics and I noticed there's like 11 verses in this song. And once again, it's just a little too long. I love the groove, but the song swings. Don't get me wrong, but
Yes.
just 11 verses. That's a lot.
Hey, if
Dude, your
you
first
can,
record is 28 minutes, bro. Your first record is like
our
28,
last our
29.
last record is 26 or 7 minutes.
That's
You know what?
awesome. That's perfect.
Hey, you know what? I'm not gonna get into this. I'm not gonna be drawn into this again.
Okay.
Not again with this fucking drawing me into a fight with you again. Uh Here's the thing is that you know to try to figure out what it means, and to try to it's all about like, oh, I found this place. It's a cool place.
Yeah.
And Samantha Brown's here, and my brother that was in the war, he's here too. And it's down this dirt road, and it's got this cool shit going on. Do you want to come? And it's like, sure, I want to come. I want to. Do you just want to see like half of it, or do you want to see all of it? Because it ended up that I saw a lot more than I thought I was going to see when I went to this place,
Mhm.
and I think that's like that is classic uh, Bob Dylan. You know, and you can I can say that about every one of these songs that he just finds a place, man. And this place, yeah, it was influenced by uh, Muddy Waters and but he's listened to so much fucking Muddy Waters. And who are the other references that are
Blind Willie McTell,
I
Ruby Glaze,
yeah,
and Leroy Carr and Blackwell's, and
right.
then like Muddy Waters.
He's listened to so much Willie McTell, he could, you know, he knows that music, he knows the what the band is playing, and so let's just do it. Let's just give up, give it up.
Yeah.
Give it up for the band, give it up for the place that we've gone to. And if you listen to like he said himself at there was a ceremony where he gave this speech for Music Cares, and he said, if you listen to enough of one kind of song, you're going to be able to write this other kind of song, which was one of his. And if you listen to enough of this guy, then you're going to be able to write this other song that I wrote. And I think that's true. If you he can reference and he can pull that out because he knows it. He's it's not just a fad, it's something that's in his DNA, kind of in his bones.
No, for sure. Um, all right. Well, like we're talking about DNA and bones. I want to talk about your acting stuff because by the late '80s, after years being in bands, uh, and before you even put out your first solo record, you started acting, and you were in one of my favorite movies, Boogie Nights, Great Balls of Fire, another one of my personal favorites, Roadhouse, and a bunch of other TV stuff. I don't think you understand how many people you probably do
I
because
do.
Roadhouse is like
Yeah.
that's like, forget Paul Thomas Anderson. Roadhouse, dude. That'll be remembered. Hopefully, aliens will find that one day, and that will live on millenniums. But
Yes.
did you always have that kind of aspiration? And did you feel like vulnerable branching out from the group dynamic to a different medium where you would essentially be representing yourself?
No, I didn't. And I'll give Allison Anders, the indie film director, credit for asking me to be in one of her first movies, or her first movie
Mhm.
called Border Radio. And it's just like somebody. I think you're a fool to turn down an opportunity. And if it's, oh, here's an opportunity to express yourself, and it's a little outside your comfort zone, and you're not sure if you're going to make a fool of yourself or not. And okay, let's go. And then, once you get to something like Great Balls of Fire or Roadhouse or something like that, it's like, oh, wait a minute. And you're going to pay me like 8 grand a week? Sure.
Yeah.
And how many weeks? We're working 10 weeks? Sure. That sounds like a lot of money to me. And, to be honest, X had been working since 77.
Yeah.
And I think you know, I could finally, could never buy a house, rented houses, so forth. Worked in 2 movies, which was like Grace Balls of Fire and Roadhouse, and suddenly I could buy a house. It wasn't anything fancy, but,
It's a house.
yeah, so, uh but I take it really seriously, and I try to do my homework and all that kind of stuff, but anybody who loves Roadhouse is, very in touch with their 13, 14-year-old boy.
Oh, yeah,
And
dude.
and I mean, that goes for male and female and binary and everybody else. If you like that movie, then you like, uh, kind of kicking ass and
I mean, it's perfect, bro.
Yeah,
It is. I
but
mean, come on, dude. That is Swayze
yeah,
at peak Swayze. I mean, he rips a
so
guy's heart out of his chest for Christ's sake. I
throat.
mean, that's
He pulls his
I'm
throat out.
sorry. All right, same thing. I mean, I'm
Same thing,
sorry.
yeah,
I got Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom mixed up. They're the
yeah, yeah,
same. They're very, very similar.
very
You can
similar.
see why I do
It
that.
was great. At some point, I'm gonna write a biography, and that'll be a dedicated chapter that's very funny.
I
It
love
was
it.
it's like the most expensive B movie ever made,
Yeah.
and up to that point, Joel Silver, who was the producer, had nothing but success, and that was a huge bomb at the box office.
Yes, but probably on VHS, he made his money back
Oh, yeah.
tenfold.
Oh, yes.
Tenfold. And the
Well, it's
rights, the where you can watch show it on television, I mean, come on.
yeah. I think it's called streaming.
That's what it is. Well, no, there's another one. It's like where it's with television. It's where it goes syndication.
Yes. Right.
The syndication.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. My
Yeah.
mom's cooking right now. Ma, please be quiet. It's so funny. We just talked about that, and then she's like banging pots and pans in there.
I
Yeah,
can't hear it. It's
go,
but that
oh,
was
I
great. That was a great reference to, like, Rupert Pupkin in The King of Comedy. "Ma! I'm trying to do my show down here!"
I gotta get back to LA, dude. I gotta get back to LA. This is killing me.
Yeah.
Like I can't. I've had more Crisco in the last 2 months than I've had in 14 years in Los Angeles.
Huh,
Remember Crisco? When's the last
sure.
time you had Crisco, John?
Well, we are, we do organic things here in our household, so
Exactly.
no. But
Exact.
there's an organic version of that, so, yeah, I don't know. I don't know exactly.
You don't need it, dude.
I
Trust
can't
me.
no,
Not
I
even.
don't.
All right. Let's
But
move on.
have you had any Karo syrup out there?
No.
Good.
What is that? I forget. I think I know what that is. It's
Karo is like before, um, what's the really bad sugar?
high fructose corn syrup.
Yes. Karo syrup is corn syrup in a bottle, and people would use it in Baltimore on pancakes, and it was just
Oh,
like sugar syrup. It was so fucking horrible.
so bad for you, but I bet, 3 in the
Oh,
morning at Zeus Cafe, just
yeah.
hammered, eating gravy fries.
Yep.
I'd
Yeah.
do some K-Row.
French fries and gravy. That was a Baltimore thing.
That's the most Baltimore thing.
Nothing
Ah,
wrong with that.
all right, you
Um,
know what? Let's stop the podcast and watch Diner.
yeah, exactly. I auditioned for Diner.
Did you really?
Yeah, I did.
Wh
Uh,
for what part? Who?
Kevin
Diego
Bacon.
Stern?
Kevin
Kevin
Bacon.
Bacon.
Yeah,
I could see that. I could
yeah.
definitely see you and Bacon going in for the same things.
He did a great job though. That was a real legit movie. I love that movie.
Great film.
Yeah.
Um, so I gotta ask, because we were talking about acting, what is there another actor that you kept losing roles to?
Uh, mm, I c they don't let you know things like that. I would kept I do have an agent even though they don't do that much because 'cause I'm usually on tour,
Yeah.
and now nobody's doing anything, so whatever. But, I would say whatever, like, Sam Shepard can't do, I'll put my name up there, you know? Whatever Billy Bob Thornton can't do, put my name in there. What the
Is there
fuck?
Let me ask you, John, is it like, are you acting, 'cause it doesn't sound like you're even actively pursuing it. I feel like it's more people like, "Get me John Doe. He'd be
Yes,
perfect." Is that kind of what it is
yes, nowadays. Well, there was
nowadays?
a there was a point when I moved up to San Francisco area, uh, on occasion, I would fly down to do an audition, and then I realized this is just bullshit. I've done 40 some movies and television and all kinds of shit, and it's like, watch one of those fucking movies. If you think I can do it, give me the job,
Yeah.
and if you don't waste my time because
Don't waste my motherfucking time.
you know. And but so yes, I've done a few things. There's a movie that's in the can where, I got to play the lead, and, it's a remake of DOA, the film noir movie,
Oh, wow.
and, I get to play, um, the lead guy who's yeah, it's great, and it's shot in a period uh, setting. We did it down in St. Augustine, Florida, instead of LA.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. Did it all black and white. Um,
If let me ask you this, if Joel Silver called you and said, "We're doing Roadhouse 2, the prequel to it," are you in?
Absolutely. I think they didn't they do a didn't they do a
Hey, listen, you know what I say? No Schwazy, no wazy.
no waysy. It's like that
No wazy.
I like it.
Thank you. All right, Floater, Too Much to Ask. That's the next song I want to talk about. This is interesting. A couple of the lines of this song were said to have been plagiarized and paraphrased from a translated version of Junichi Saga's 1991 nonfiction book about the Japanese crime syndicate Confessions of a Yakuza. When someone pointed it out to the writer, rather than be upset or litigious, he said he was honored by Dylan. When confronted with his proclivity for liberally lifting from writers, including Saga, he unapologetically said, this is from Bob Dylan, wussies and pussies complain about that stuff. If you think it's so easy to quote him and it can help your work, do it yourself and see how far you can get. Fucking Bob, dude. I also found this on a message board and I thought this was pretty funny. An amazing song that doubles as a book recommendation, How Evil. And the poster of that clip's handle, I gotta say this. Bible Belt Ho.
Huh.
No bullshit. Bible Belt Ho. Very, very good Bible Belt Ho. If you're out there and you're listening, maybe want to change the name though. Bible Belt Ho. I don't, you know. This line caught me off guard. Peter, play 24 seconds. Did you guys catch that? You can kill it. Did you catch that? He's in love with his second cousin.
Yeah. Don't forget was in Great Balls of Fire.
Oh yeah, dude. Oh, I
But
know. That's
They
fine.
just they just wanted to take him down. Evidently Elvis was doing the same thing with Priscilla, but was keeping it under wraps because Colonel Parker was smarter than whoever was trying to manage Jerry Lee.
Yeah.
Yeah,
How do you? I like this shuffle. What are your thoughts?
great, great fucking song.
Yeah.
But again, I'm gonna just we could just talk shit because I'm gonna say the same thing. Bob found himself in a cool place, and I've taken direct inspiration from other authors. One is oh god, what's her name? She wrote the Beat Queen. And written songs. There was a another book by Haruki Murakami that I've used as inspiration for a song called "Closet of Dreams."
Mhm.
And yeah, I mean, you got if you're having trouble with your output, look at your input. If you're having trouble creating something, what are you being inspired by? Because there's very few things that are. I mean, you can't just steal. You can't be like Led Zeppelin and steal from, you know,
Yeah, I know.
impoverished blues musicians and then call it your own. No, you give them credit and then give them the money too.
Yeah. No, for sure.
So so yeah. So what?
There's
I
nothing
don't give a
wrong. I mean,
shit.
he's not. It's like first of all, he's not really. He's just like he's like taking a line and rewording it, like he's playing around. It's not like he's like you said. It's not like he's full on just. All right, this is a paragraph from the story. I'm just going to put that in, and if he
Yep.
does, he reworks it and
Yeah.
he Dylan's it up, and I
Yeah.
dig it. All right. So then after that we have High Water for Charlie Patton. Great song. Then the next one I want to talk about is Moonlight. Because I got so many people when I posted about this record that were just saying how this is their favorite song on it. This
Yes.
is very interesting. Although most of the lyrics and melody are his, Dylan likely took the verse refrain from the Carter family's 1928 recording of "Meet Me by the Moonlight." Play a little bit of the Dylan, JT. All right. So, according to engineer Chris Shaw, this was recorded completely live in a few takes with no editing or additional overdubs. I love that. They did it. He was like, he listened to it. He's like, it's perfect. And then that was it. And I really like this song.
You're a romantic.
I am. I have a big heart. I'm
Yeah,
looking for love, and not in even all the wrong places. I'm just looking for it. But I love when a song like this, especially, and I think this is with this album. We've had some really high highs, and we've had moments where I'm like, okay, I don't know if I'm vibing in this, but like you said, when you find the groove, you find the groove. And in
yeah.
this one, I really enjoyed the groove. Um,
Well,
w-
this is a sort of jazz standard, Tin Pan Alley kind of chord changes and delivery, and it's unabashedly romantic. I hate to tell whoever was commenting that this was taken from the Carter family. Ask them to listen to Woody Guthrie, and
okay.
pretty much every fucking melody that Woody does, which are incredible, are taken from a Carter family song.
Hmm.
Like "This Land Is Your Land" is something like "My Sweet Darling," oh, or "My Little Darling," and it's like the same. So shit happens.
Shit does happen. All right, that's perfect button on that. All right, honest with me. The song meaning I think is about a lost love that was upended the narrator's whole life. But it's a Bob Dylan song, so who really knows? Once again, though, this song,
I love the fact that it's like there's all this shit that goes down, and I think that people have a really hard time being honest,
yeah,
and they always want people want to, and I'll include myself there. You want to soft pedal it. You don't want to hurt people's feelings. You don't want to. Uh, it's really hard to be brutally honest. And I guess somewhere in the middle of this is also referencing like a Civil War song.
yeah, yeah. So he for the line, "I'm not sorry for nothing I've
Yeah,
done. I'm glad I fought. I only wish we'd won." That's from the pro-Confederate
yeah,
post-Civil War song, "I'm a good old rebel."
yeah,
And then I think there's for this fair land of freedom, I don't give a damn. I'm glad I fit against it. I only wish we'd won, and I don't want no pardon for anything I'd done. I
yeah,
don't know, but I think that's from the same song.
yeah. It, you know, it's it's brutally honest about, um, and I love what he says. I'm stark naked and off in the woods, and I'm I'm hunting bear.
Yeah.
Bare. Tell me that
I
Bob
just want to
Dylan doesn't have some comedy chops.
I mean,
I'm
or
off in the
Bob
woods.
Dylan's butt naked in the forest.
I'm off. I'm hunting bear. You know.
I do like this one a lot. Like I said, I like this is one of those ones that did go a little too long, but it has these great runs that the band plays. Peter, play 358. Yeah, see, kill it. These are the things that are saving certain songs for me because it's like this is one of the rockers on the record. So immediately I'm drawn to it. Like I said, but it's that little guitar run, that that just
Thank you,
really
Charlie Sexton. Thank you, Charlie Sexton. Is this the one that where he references Elmore James? Does he have "Dust Your Broom" on this
I
song?
I don't know. I'd have to
Maybe
look at the
that's someplace
lyrics. Hold
else.
on, Jeremiah, can you look it up?
I can,
Okay.
but yeah, yeah. It's and you're let's see, blah 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 blah. Um, no, I think "Dust My Broom" is on some other song, but that's what Charlie's playing there is classic Elmore James kind of kind of stuff. So
It's so good.
yeah,
Alright, Po' Boy, this is you were talking about Bob's humor, this is another great example. During a song about a life of struggle, work, simple pleasures, and comforts, he drops old jokes like calling room service. Peter, play it. Kill it. He's like, "So I called down and the guy says, 'Hold on for a second.' So I wait 3 minutes and then the guy answers and he says it's the wrong number. So I call the number again and then, oh, I finally got the guy and there he is. Oh boy, a baba ski doo." This is such a sweet song. This is the sweetest song on the record in my opinion. I love the story, I love the humor, and I love that light swing. Uh, I saw you laughing, so obviously you feel the same way.
yeah. Freddie or not, here I come.
Yeah. It's just so great.
Freddie who? Freddie or not, here I come.
So
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, who's gonna who else is gonna reference Othello and Desdemona and get it right about somebody getting poisoned, uh, and make it swing?
yeah.
It's like, okay, sure, you can do that. I'm with
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
You just did it. God damn. I love you and I hate you.
Alright, "Cry a While." Alright, so this one is vicious. Here's another acid tongue song of resentment. It's somebody who has well earned their tears. Here's the best part, Peter, play it. There it is. Kill it. Bob Dylan just shouted out booty calls. I fucking love that. And it's funny how he found that out. After seeing Rolling Stone magazine in the studio with Destiny's Child on the cover and the heading Booty Camp, he put the phrase booty call into this song. Good for Bob.
Doesn't matter where you get it.
No, dude. The term booty also means what a pirate might loot or steal, but I don't think in this
No,
well,
no, no, no.
last
But you
night
see, here's another thing where he's it. This doesn't take place in the recording studio while there's a Rolling Stone. It takes place in some alternate fucking universe
yeah.
where the railroad that's going out of Pennsylvania and the frozen fucking roads in Denver and you know, but then there's double crossing, backstabbing phonies and
Yeah.
yeah,
Great
beautiful.
song. Great
Yeah.
song. Where are we? All right, so Sugar Baby. That's the last one. All right, here we go. So pick it up from here, Peter. All right, last song on the record, Sugar Baby. And I honest to God think I know I've said I've enjoyed this one or I like this one. I'm connecting with this. I think this is my favorite song on the record. And I also think it's a perfect way to end the album. Just a slow, regretful ballad about a life of heartbreak. And it really does break my heart. Um, Here, Peter, play 227. God, this is a killer. This is a really great song. It really reminds me of something that it feels more like it should be on Time Out of Mind. It just that's I feel like it's a continuation of that record.
Mhm.
Your thoughts on it? Ending the album with this?
Oh, it's a great album ender, and you have to as you're sequencing something, you have to trust your intuition. I mean,
Yeah,
that's what sequencing is all about, and that's what recording is all about. But I think that this is the most like slave master type song. because he's using lyrics like you never had any brains, know how. It's sort of like using a vernacular of someone who could have been enslaved, and it's like a sugar baby, being a, you know, just being a kid who doesn't know anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a beautiful song, and the music is shows how the band can just be so restrained and really melodic and not trying to here they're staying out of the way.
Really out of the
And
way, and I think that's why I enjoy it so much.
yeah, and
It's
this is pretty similar to something that could be on the last record as well.
sure.
That rough and rowdy ways, which I would recommend, but I wouldn't recommend the Murder So Foul, which is another fucking 17-minute song about the assassination of John Kennedy. I don't know, maybe you're into that, but
Nah,
that was
dude. Nah. I gotta go back, bro. I gotta really, because you know what? I watched when I was doing getting ready for the last Bob Dylan record, I watched a documentary, I forget which one it was. Who's the guy? Penny HR Penny Packer, is that his name, or did I
yeah,
fuck that up? Yeah, but
yeah,
I watched one of his documentaries and I was just like in awe of how cool Bob was and how, you could just tell how special he was watching him. And I remember they did a song, I'm gonna fuck it up. Like I think it's called "Hey Ramona." It's
yeah,
like Ramona, and I immediately heard it. I found out what the song was, and I listened to it over and over and over and over and over again because I was like,
yeah.
that's the Bob Dylan that I like. That right there,
All right.
and I need
Well,
more
the
of
the
that.
the name of that record is called "Another Side of Bob Dylan,"
Ooh.
and that was when he stepped away from doing more political stuff and he was doing more, romantic stuff.
It's beautiful, but dude, I have no time. I have to listen to The Who next, and then I think fucking Talking Heads or some shit. I mean, nothing. I'm not against any of these other albums I gotta listen to. I
Yeah,
have no time. I have no
yeah.
time to listen to Stone Temple Pilots and Guns N' Roses, the
Oh,
bands
you're
that.
right. You're right. There's never enough time. There's never any enough extra time to listen to either one of those bands.
I'm so embarrassed
Sorry.
about my music knowledge, bro. I'm
Yeah,
just so embarrassed.
I'm
I mean,
it's okay.
listen, I listened to Los Angeles, as soon as we booked you, I kept hearing your name. Mark Maron keeps talking about your music, and I
Yeah.
heard it, and I was like, "This fucking rips."
Well,
So,
listen to the most recent one called Alphabet Land, and
I will, I will.
maybe you'll like that.
I wanna ask you this though, because I just found this out. Me and Morty were talking, and he wrote this question because I just think it's so fascinating. We're talking about sad country songs. In the 1992 movie, The Bodyguard, your version of
Yes,
Dolly Parton's "I Will
yes,
Always Love You," it's
yes,
playing in a pivotal scene, and it
yes.
inspires Whitney's character to sing it at the end of the movie. So
Just
I gotta
yeah.
know, how did that come about, and were you even aware of how big this movie was gonna be or how big her version was gonna be?
No to all of that. And and the way that I got involved is that I knew Kevin Costner and Jim Wilson. We were in kind of a acting, improv, fuck around and do stuff thing in LA. That my friend Michael Blake, who was a writer, and Michael wrote Dances with Wolves, which was adapted and then won Academy Awards and shit
Yeah.
like that. Um, and so Michael introduced me to Kevin and Jim, and Jim Wilson thought it would, I could do a good version of that. And um, it's kind of a shame that that song didn't get included on the record, because but then I wouldn't be here.
You won't be talking to me.
I
You
would
might be
I'd be in
being on
Hawaii.
it.
I'd be in
Well,
Hawaii, and oh, wait a minute, you're in Hawaii. No,
he's in
uh,
Hawaii.
I'd
Fucking he lives on Luawa'a Terrace.
there you go. Um,
Uawa'a Terrace.
but actually the funny thing about that is that the movie company, or there was whoever was working on the soundtrack, whatever. Um, they made a single cassette or something, that they were sending out to country radio stations, seeing if they would play my version of that.
Yeah.
And their biggest response was like, "Yeah, this is good, but we're still playing Dolly's version, so sorry." And I was like, "Oh, okay. I can lose to Dolly Parton." Uh, but that was the first gold record that Nick Lowe got because what's so funny about Peace, Love, and Understanding is on that soundtrack,
Really?
on the soundtrack to Bodyguard.
That is so dope. That is so cool,
I
man.
loved Whitney Houston in that. It was like Whitney without makeup. Oh my god,
It's
she was
great.
she was so natural and such a dream.
I just love that we're skipping over that you're good friends with Kevin Costner.
I don't see him much. I've been around, man. I've been
I
around
know.
and I lived in LA and you know, whatever.
It's the friendships that we get in our careers. It's like there's people that you're like, "Ah, no, I'll never get along." And next thing you know, like, "Nope, me and this dude that have nothing in common that are both in different sides of the entertainment industry, we hit
Yeah.
it off and it's great." I think that's one of the cool things like, about doing this is just the people that you meet and
Yes.
are so talented and that we get to really connect with. It's also it's like to be able to talk to you and then be able to put two and two together with having you in the bodyguard. Well, hearing your voice, I mean, in the
Yeah.
bodyguard. It's
Yeah.
incredible. You want to do some facts and we'll get out of here?
Sure.
All right. I found this fact, Morty. So if don't get mad at me because I found this one. Morty writes all the facts, but I found this one, and you'll see why. In her memoir, Wishful Drinking, Carrie Fisher writes about getting a call from Dylan. He'd been asked to endorse a cologne called Just Like a Woman, but he didn't like that name and wanted her advice on alternates. So I wanted to ask you, what song title of yours would be the best name for a cologne? I put
Sex and Dying in High Society.
nice, dude. What about LA? Then I was like, nah, that would be too pee-pee smelling. It'd be
Yeah.
it'd be overcrowded.
Yeah.
It's the scent of overcrowd and high
Yeah.
taxes.
No, Sex and Dying in High Society, which
Well,
which is that's a total kind of rip off of Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
yeah. Yeah.
Same
Oh, for
kind of
sure, dude.
same kind of thing.
For sure. What would it smell like? What would be the main note?
Uh, something awful, like the way that orange blossoms can be so, like, overwhelming.
Yeah.
The smell of orange blossom, I mean, the actual going into an orange grove or in LA,
Yeah.
it's intoxicating, but then at the same time, it's, like, too much. It's like, just really?
Just tone it down.
Just
Yeah.
smothering. You're smothering me with your sweetness.
Yeah.
Stop it.
All right. So Dylan would sometimes play the band old records for the styles that he wanted to emulate and would start and stop takes to change directions. If the band wasn't getting it, he would threaten them by telling them he'll just do it solo, and it scared the shit out of them enough to get them to figure out what he wanted. I love that. I because if there's anybody that you don't want to get fired by, it's Bob Dylan. You get a chance to play with Dylan, you do what the fuck Dylan wants.
Yeah.
So I got to ask you this: when you first started getting those and started getting offered movie roles and were making solo records, was there any pushback from the band?
No, no. That was like, with the high tides rise all the boats, and I still believe that.
Yeah,
Um, I think there were a couple of times when I was working on Roswell that it was uh, really like the scheduling was fucked up because I never knew when they would call me to work for a week. I wasn't an actual like regular on the show,
yeah,
and they would at random and it would only be about a 10-day, turnaround. It's like, "Okay, you're working in 10 days." It's like, "Shit, I've got a whole" so sometimes I have to say I couldn't, but other times I would try to fly back and forth but I only missed 1 gig from that.
yeah. Good,
Yeah,
good,
and
good.
they were righteously angry with me, and I apologized, and yeah, we rescheduled it. We're still together.
There you go. You won. Don't worry.
Yeah,
In the end, you got it. All
yeah.
right. Bob saw this as the first record of a trilogy that explored pre rock and roll American music that went on to include Modern Times and Tougher Through Life. In 1985, you exene DJ Bone Break and guitarist Dave and Alvin from the Blasters and stand-up bassist Johnny Ray Bartell from the Red Devils put out the first record from your roots band side project, The Knitters.
Yes.
25 laters, you followed it up. So I want to know, will we finally be getting the third Knitters album in 2025?
If we're all still alive, yes. It's already in the works. No.
Yes.
I have no idea. We did that on a lark. It was like, I love the Carter family. Do you love the Carter family? Yeah, let's play this song. And the Knitters were, we didn't have a name. And our
Knitters
first
is good
show,
though.
oh, you have a little pooch.
Like a dog who's been annoying. Like a dog.
Oh, that's very,
Little. She's an 85-pound Doberman.
oh,
Oh
I,
yeah.
I, all I could see was the nose.
Hold on.
Um, anyway,
Sit.
oh, who's a good dog?
Hit me. There you
Good
go. All right,
dog.
now get the fuck out of here.
Good dog.
Oh, dude, I trained the shit out of this dog. Like,
Good
you'd be
dog.
impressed, John. You'd be like, "Holy
I am
shit.
impressed.
Thank you, buddy.
Being a good dog owner is very important.
I'm the best."
And he also doesn't have cropped ears, which is even better.
Flippity floppities, yep.
Yeah,
They did the tail though before I got her. So I picked her up at 10 weeks and the tail was already cut. And I
yeah,
was gonna do the airs, but then the first night I fell in love with her. And the next morning I was like, why would I ever put this dog through anything uncomfortable? And then
yeah.
that was it. And the ears are the best because you can do this. You can fucking you can just get out of here, Lekka.
Uh, so the very first gig that we had was doing a benefit for an after hours club that we all like to go to
Nice.
because we were such booze hounds that when the bars closed at 2, we thought we're not done yet. And then somebody, a friend of ours, John Pocono, opened a place called the Zero One Club, which was an art gallery.
Sure.
Well, they did have art. They had actually some good art
There's
from
art there.
time to time. But
There's also
we were
Tito's.
club members,
Nice.
but we needed to sustain the club. So that was the first thing we were going to play. Just Dave, Alvin, and Exene and I. And it's like, oh shit, we don't have a name. What are we going to be called? And so instead of the Weavers, which was like the quintessential folk group, I said, well, what about the Knitters? We weren't weaving, we were knitting. And the the other strange thing is that Bloodshot Records from Chicago made a tribute record to the Knitters record. They got all these other like alt country artists to do a tribute to our record, which was a tribute to like old records. So it was like,
That's
oh, this
great.
meta.
It's very meta, but it's so great, dude. I've been able to dig through a lot of your stuff recently, man. Once we got you on this, and I'm saying you got a fan. So I
Oh,
this is
good.
you really got a fan, and especially with X, dude. That first record is just it's perfect. It is a perfect record. And I don't know if you saw this recently. Mark Maron tweeted. I think I'm gonna fuck it up, but I'm almost positive he said.
Yeah, just
Uh,
a reminder that X is a great band or something
oh
like that.
yeah, oh yeah, you saw it.
Yeah,
Okay.
somebody sent it to me and I put it up on my Instagram.
It's awesome. All right,
Yeah.
this is really funny, this fact, the last fact. Morty didn't write this one, so just to give you an idea. All right. Sometime in the early 2000s, so I'm assuming right around this time, Bob Dylan decided he wanted to star in a slapstick comedy on HBO. Larry Charles, who at the time had been a main writer on Seinfeld and Mad About You, who also went on to direct Borat, got a call to meet with him. That led to a bizarre meeting with HBO, which involves someone whispering in reference to Dylan, he's like a retarded child. I just wish that show would have happened. God, can you imagine the dialogue on like a sitcom, a slapstick sitcom with Bob Dylan? Just it's like, who ate all the leftovers? Bob. Here's about that. It's this the intro, and they're like, whatever happened to predictability? And he just looks at the camera. God, that would have fucking ruled. Would you watch the show? That's the question. I
I'm
just wanted
no, I'm so glad that didn't happen
I
because
know.
yeah,
All
uh,
right.
yeah.
All right, here we
Yeah.
go. I got a
I
few.
would like to know who was so bold to call Bob's, and to say that they're retarded, which I don't think you could even say
Not
anymore.
anymore, but
Yeah,
this was the early 2000s, keep that in mind. Don't forget, and all the listeners don't not to forget, Black Eyed Peas had a song that's called "Let's Get Retarded," and I used to play it when I DJ'd middle school dances, and nobody said anything. It's all like you said, you mentioned cancel culture, shit has changed. We can't and I respect all of that. I'm not shitting on any
yeah,
of the words or whatever. It's like, "Oh,
yeah.
I get it." But the shit that we did in 1980, dude, you couldn't they're remaking the movie Revenge of the Nerds, and I'm like, "How could you remake Revenge of the" that was like a sex romp. I'm
Yeah.
literally think the main character raped the female main character, and then she fell in love with him because he puts the mask on and then has sex with her. She thinks it's ex-boyfriend. You can't
Uh,
do that.
yeah, I can't say that I actually ever saw
You never saw
Revenge
Revenge
of
of
the
the
Nerds.
Nerds?
No, I didn't.
Well, you
I was busy, punk
making
rocking
you
to the punk rock beat.
okay.
Sorry, I was too busy shooting hard drugs and being a fucking rebel and, so forth.
All right, me and you, dude, we're getting some fentanyl. We're watching Revenge of the Nerds, bro. You'll come on my next podcast, The
That was my
Fork.
previous that's my previous life, sorry.
All right, here I got four other questions. They're rapid
Sure.
fire, and then we're done. All right,
Okay.
favorite song on this record?
God damn, wait a minute. It's not that rapid fire. Hold on.
Take your time. No, no, no. Take it. I always rapid.
That's what editing is all about.
Yep.
Not that window. Hold on. Hold please. Favorite song on this record? Uh, I would say either Moonlight or By and By. I'll go with Moonlight
Nice.
for 20
Least for
for
20
20
points. All right, Jeremiah, make sure you keep the tabulation of the score. All
Yes,
right. Least favorite song on the record.
none of them.
Mm,
Okay. Least favorite song.
not saying it's even a bad song. Just one that you might be like, I want to get to this one. You might skip over it or just 'cause I always feel like I'm trying to figure out a way to phrase that where we're not offense we're not being because we're not saying it's a bad. Just,
No,
if there's stuff there Moonlight and then there's, this one, it's a good song. Just
no,
I heard it
mm,
enough.
I'm not gonna pick it.
Okay.
Sorry.
All right. Okay, well, you have to answer this next one though.
I will.
Okay. What song
2 out of 3
2 out of
win.
3, 2 out of 3, but you only got 20 points. All right, but this is the big one.
Okay.
What song on the record would you fuck to?
Oh, can I choose all of them?
Okay, we got what are you leading with? You're opening up with Tweedly Dee, Tweedly Dum?
Oh, no, I'll lead with the really nasty one. Honest with Me.
Nice.
Yeah,
Nice, dude. I could tell you were a freak, John. I
yeah.
knew it. All
Oh, yeah.
right. And then final question, is Bob Dylan the greatest ever? And if so, why?
Oh, yeah, Bob Dylan's the greatest ever because he changed culture. He opened up, uh, rock and roll music to poetry, and if it wasn't for him, I don't think that, it would have been as easy for Jim Morrison to come in and do his thing, and if it wasn't for him, it wouldn't have been, like, what the hell does that mean? It wouldn't have been as easy for Kurt Cobain or, somebody else to tackle deep subjects, and I with a song like Hurricane,
Yeah.
nobody was talking about that kind of inequality or, even way back, the, death of Hattie Carroll, which was historical about some rich bastard killing a slave
Yeah.
because she didn't do what he wanted to or whatever. So, and also, he's the greatest for longevity, him and Willie,
Yeah.
and a few others.
It's
Yeah,
perfect answer. Because
good.
I mean, as I said it, I was like, God, that's such a hard question to answer. And you were like, you nailed it.
And he also doesn't give a shit.
That's the big
You know?
thing. That's real
He
rock
doesn't
and roll.
care.
That's the most punk rock thing you can do is not give a shit.
Right. And, everybody said he lost his mind when he, had the band back him up and went electric and all that kind of stuff and had, yeah, he doesn't care.
He
He's
doesn't
doing
care.
he's doing his thing.
I mean this from the bottom of my heart, John. I can't thank you enough. I had such a good time talking with you,
Oh, good.
buddy. And so if you have anything you want to promote, please do. I know you have the new record. Just whatever you want to promote, go ahead.
Oh, Jesus. Yeah, just, I'm not a self-promoter, except that there is a really good X record called Alphabet Land. It's on Fat Possum Records. I'm gonna do an internet show on Thursday, the day after, Inauguration Day,
Oh,
and it's on a platform called Mandolin. It's on my Instagram, shit like that. Yeah, and
dude, what
it's just
we
me solo.
will
8 o 8 o'clock, Central Time on Thursday, the 21st.
perfect. And we'll promote the fuck out of it for you to make sure all the
Sure.
listeners because this comes out on Wednesday. And also the movie. Don't forget the movie that's in the
Yeah,
can.
yeah, DOA. But
DOA.
it's still being edited.
So it's not really in the can then. Oh, no, it's
Well,
in the
it is.
can, but it's still they're opening the can up every once in a while to tinker with it.
Exactly.
Dude,
They're
I
they're in the they're in the midst of actually, they're doing the soundtrack, which is, frightening, but, yeah, there's gonna have to be some more voiceover and shit like that, so
alright, I love it. John, I had such a great time. Thank you, buddy.
it's my pleasure, man. This was more fun than I thought it was gonna be.
Yes. So much fun.